right?
Right.
I have told my singers, so I'll tell you, we just did a project, the song Dancing Queen. I mean, come on, we're the Gay Men's Chorus. So we're going to do the Dancing Queen. And I had 80 submissions, and I promised the singers, I have no interest in listening to Dancing Queen 80 times. So send your video, upload it. It's going to go off the engineers. Once the product is together, then we start listening. And if I hear, okay, the tenor twos are too loud there, we'll bring them down. But I promised them and made them, hopefully they believe me, that I don't want them to be afraid of that I'm listening going, they took a breath there and not there. The other thing I've been saying to them also in this recent rehearsal process as we get ready to make another recording is we want, in these, if you are doing a virtual choir recording, you want the organic sound of the chorus. You don't want it to sound completely packaged. It's going to have that obviously technical aspect to it. But if you're inclined to take a breath there and the person next to you would, i.e. staggered breathing, do what you would do. Be yourself. And by all means, once you've made the video, don't look at it, just send it off. So that's some advice that has worked to get the numbers up a little bit, I'd say. But the other thing with being here online is now there's opportunity also to work with other choruses across the country. So, you mentioned Boston Children's Chorus, we haven't yet, but there's an idea. We could reach out to them and do some sort of project. The other thing too, that we've been talking about as directors with gala choruses. So gala choruses is the parent umbrella, if you will, that Gay Men's Chorus of Washington is part of. And each week the artistic directors have a call here just to check in and be a resource for each other, which we've always done here and there, sprinkling via email, but now it's a weekly thing and it is so wonderful. And there's an example of a resource or something that's coming out of this situation that I think will probably, maybe not every single week, but something that'll be an ongoing thing. But we're saying, why don't we invite each other to come into someone else's rehearsal? So as a guest conductor, have the San Francisco Gay Men's Chorus director stop in and say hi at one of our rehearsals and do a warm-up or whatever. So it's that opportunity for connection and collaboration that wouldn't have happened otherwise. And like any of us, I'm sure you're having, happy hours with friends across the country and all that. And I had a happy hour with my parents the other day. It was so much fun. And we have never done that. And now it's going to be, we have live, but right. So now it's going to be a thing. And they live over in San Francisco. So yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. As you look in the forward view and you're thinking about archival, of course, recordings so that you can really capture the essence of the message, the choreography, and then that visceral recollection for both your members and your audiences where they can remember how that felt and that experience and really kind of relive that live experience. What are you finding in terms of repertoire that helps stay in the virtual world and is effective in communicating in the virtual world?
We just sent in a video as part of the Americans for the Arts annual conference, which was last week. And they had asked for a 20-minute video that shows GMCW, if you will. So to answer your question, I chose one piece that was really just a stand and sing, very lush, beautiful lines piece. That was from a concert a couple of years ago. Then I chose a number that was Disco Fever, and it was a mashup of several disco tunes, and it featured our dancers. It featured, fabulous costumes and great soloists, and so to show that aspect of us. We included our youth chorus singing a piece. Again, this is all archival. And then we also included a recent virtual choir project to kind of show, here's what we're doing now. So in putting together these concerts, and I was kind of talking to all of us here as we look at our next season, I know personally as a goal, for example, the holiday show, 1 hour. And that's the thing is we spend so much time sitting here looking at our screens. Or even if we were able to watch YouTube on the television and watch a concert, we're starting to, have that very short attention span. And so I would suggest, again, our plan is to do, as I just described, you don't want to put an hour together of all virtual choir, just little boxes of singers. Just as you wouldn't program a live concert of all the same tempos or the same keys or same style. So you want to mix it up with the same idea. Now we're just mixing up a little different. So looking back for us at archival video, we want to find pieces that have an impact as far as the message, also that it was a nice performance, the lighting was good, the sound was good, all those things, of course, you want to show well. And as I said, just mixing it up so that the audience, even though they're sitting at home on their couch potentially, still have an experience and have an arc in that show. Perhaps easier said than done. We're all figuring this out as we go. I heard a great expression the other day that is, we are living in this new house while we're building it.
Yes.
You know, sometimes the roof's going to leak.
And the pastor said something like, here we are inventing the plane or building the plane while it's flying. Yes. It doesn't feel like that. Yeah.
It involves a lot of faith. Absolutely.
So as you also think about the fact that virtual concerts, like you were mentioning, cause all of us to watch at home, one thing that I found is different at home versus when you're in the room and we're all in the auditorium or the whatever the performing venue is, the live element and the being there element cause a lot more of us in the audience and in our singing community to be in that moment, which is a precious gift that music and choral music specifically can give, that we're all in that moment. And I think that might be the one tangible thing that's super hard to recreate virtually. Are there measures that you take with your online planning that accommodate or help to kind of corral people back in as they watch from their couches, and we can't control the environment in which they're seeing what we're presenting?
We are encouraging folks, as they're comfortable, to hold watching parties, and they can be here online, or if you know, with your family, or friends, if you can spread out in your living room or whatever, however you're comfortable, but so that you're not watching it alone, because that also is helpful, because when we know that feeling of being in an audience as an audience member and being so moved by something, and you just get goosebumps, but also that everyone around you is having that same experience and you feel elevated. And I'll tell you, that's one thing in this whole process I really didn't realize how much I took for granted as an audience goer. The feeling of getting ready to go out, to see a concert, maybe stopping for a bite to eat with some friends, going into the concert hall, lights are still up, opening that playbill, the lights come down, the anticipation, and that is absolutely near impossible to recreate exactly the way we know it so well. And even talking about it makes me so excited for the day that's coming soon, hopefully, when we can return to doing that, both as patrons as well as being performers on the stage. So yeah, the planning, it's virtual watch parties are fun. In-person watch parties, if in small numbers, obviously, as long as everyone is safe and comfortable. So I think we need to continue to be creative about that, and still and share ideas too. That's the thing. As I said, it's been really resourceful to meet with the gala directors here. It's also I meet every couple of weeks with the area, Washington, D.C. area, choral conductors get together for a call every couple of weeks. And again, to share our ideas. Also, speaking of, and I'm going to go back on a question you asked earlier, we here in DC are now planning to present in December a area-wide holiday concert where each ensemble will submit one song and we'll put together, a 1-hour concert to represent the vibrant choral community and here in the Washington area. And that's something we've never done. And maybe I can say that's something we do going forward. As we know, it's hard to pull together 20 choruses at the Kennedy Center, and you have, the revolving backstage door and all. That's just a nightmare. And it's also very expensive.
Yes.
So, so there's another positive coming out of it, and another collaboration.
Absolutely. And again, Voices Smarter Than Mine have talked about engaging the chat function, or being that multitasking that many of us pretend that we're doing when really we're just playing solitaire over here and
answering emails,
right over here. But I was thinking about how you can put links or answer questions or explore pieces in a way that the lighting in a concert hall causes you not to read the notes as well, or the printing and the cost of printing causes you to limit what you say there. But the fact that it's in a chat function and you can link to something that's far more comprehensive, is that something that you've already done with the Gay Men's Chorus? Or
we've done that with rehearsals, certainly. We have not live streamed anything. This is a whole nother topic for a whole nother probably webinar or a session anyway at the conference. When you go to do live streaming versus pre-recorded and on YouTube and all that, there's, as we know, there's sync rights, there's obviously licensing for the actual music, but live streaming is a whole nother license type thing. I just put that out there because it crossed my mind as you said that. We are not planning any live stream other than our fundraiser this summer, which is just going to be interviews and things and some music. But we're looking at, for example, I mentioned the holiday concert. That'll be something that we put together ahead of time, and we won't have any live aspect to that. Where I say, I mean, there will be a welcome to the holiday concert 2020, but it'll all be pre-recorded. So that said, there won't be that opportunity for streaming to be adding the chat as we go. For rehearsals, though, what we've been doing is we always have someone who is kind of the admin, in addition to myself, for the rehearsal. And every few minutes, I schedule into my planning time every few minutes to stop and say, are there any questions on that section? Now, the singers should be singing along. They should not be busy, chatting or writing in questions. So what we do is encourage them to just wait. When I turn to the camera from the piano and say, any questions, wave your hand, and then I'll call on you. And that's been effective. Early on, though, when we first started rehearsal for this new piece, it was just the tenor ones, for example. There was time for people to go ahead and write questions in, and then I would say to the admin person, Michael, are there any questions that anybody typed in? And then whoever the admin is, in this case you, would then read the question to me. So it definitely is a very valuable, interesting. Yeah, but as far as like the live stream thing, haven't thought about it yet. In fact, tomorrow night we have a meeting about our live streamed fundraiser this summer, and there will be, as I said, a couple pieces of music that will be premiering, one that was just written for us. And it would be interesting to include that. And then you can also, like, if I make reference to Let Freedom Sing, the concert I mentioned earlier, that we could put the link up into that. Yeah. Thank you for that. Indeed. Another thing to put in my head and turn around and be thinking about.
Indeed. Oh my gosh. This is so helpful. And I'm wondering if there are other things that you've thought about in the scope of our conversation that would make you think, how have we addressed all of the ways in which we just have to keep singing?
It's just so important to share your story and to raise your voice, as we know, and particularly being in quarantine. And I'm fortunate to be in quarantine with my husband and my puppy. Folks who are, live alone, I can't imagine. And I'm actually an introvert, so I don't mind. This is not a huge stretch for me, but it's just so important to reach out just to friends anyway, but to feel that connection. As we know, singing it becomes that common denominator, because we could be so very different. We have scientists in our organization, we have lawyers, teachers, moms, dads, the whole thing, the whole gamut of community. But we all have that in common. And particularly with GMSW, we all have, and hopefully everyone has that common goal of equality for all people, and that we're all treated the same way. And so to be able to come together with our music to make that statement is wonderful. That said, we have been spending a lot of time here with social activities, tenor ones, get together Thursday night and just chat or whatever, what have you, and game night here online. And so it's just important to keep that going. But preaching to the choir here, I know, but can you imagine never singing again?
Right?
No.
Right?
So
that's very good.
Keep going. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Thea, thank you very much for your time and your wisdom and all the things that you're doing specifically for the Gay Men's Chorus of Washington, but just for our choral art and for the world to make it a better place. Thank you.
Thank you for the opportunity, Michael. It's really lovely to talk with you as always.
Oh gosh, thank you. We'll take care.
Okay, you too.